Hello again, guys. This is going to be more of my testimony video. This will solely be testimony. I'm going to start from the beginning, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And please, if you have any questions, especially those of you that have not had an encounter with God, let me tell you what it's like, okay? For those of you that are familiar, that have listened to my testimony on the talk shows, go to my playlist if you're new to this channel. And I'm going to start from the beginning, from the very first thing that I remember, okay? I remember this was pretty much about almost 2 years after Jesus Christ visited me in 2009. I was going to this ministry in this church called Army. And I remember this song by Jesus Culture playing, "You Won't Relent." And I remember this power entering the place. I mean, what felt like this extremely strong, presence. And again, guys, it's not a hallucination. When you have an encounter with God, you will know, trust me. It's something that you cannot explain, and He will come in a way where you will know it's Him. If you don't know it's Him right away, you will eventually know. So, see the earliest part. Okay, so as that song was playing, let me just real quick talk about the ministry here. In this ministry, they met once a week, Wednesday nights, I believe, or Tuesday nights. And it started out with a video or someone sharing their testimony. And then about an hour and a half, it was just worship and singing. That's all it was. And then I remember being in one of the pews. I was standing up, my hands were out, and as the minister passed by, I felt something hit me. What it felt like was like how a curtain, like let's say you tied up a curtain over your window, you tied it back, and then you just untied it and let it go. Okay, guys, that's what it felt like. It felt like that fell on me. Like, I would say it felt like the Lord walked into the room, like His robe, like a part of His robe just dropped right into the room. I know that sounds crazy, guys, but trust me, when you have an encounter with God, you will know it's Him. And it was so strong that it almost knocked me off my feet. Later on, if you guys have heard about people having encounters with the Lord where it knocks them out, where some people call it getting slain. There's some people call it an outpouring, where it just knocks you out and you fall over, and you can even get knocked out and you have absolutely no pain, no bruises, and you get knocked out hard. That's also how you know it's the Lord. He will not hurt you, but to the human eyes, it will look like you got hurt. And that's one of the first things that I remember when I remember seeing one person get knocked out or slain, and this person was on some hard floor in the church. And I remember seeing this girl, and I've never seen this kind of power, this kind of encounter with the Lord before. So I was ready to, I really thought she was really hurt, that she really hurt herself. And people around me were saying, "No, don't worry." Even my friend at that time said, "Don't worry, that's what happens. She's very open to the Lord's Spirit. That happens to her." Now, the next thing I remember was after His presence, it took me off balance. It definitely did. It felt like something came in, and it really hit me to where I was going to my knees. So I'm in a standing position, and it's as if like I just couldn't keep my balance. And that presence was just so around me. And the presence enhanced my hearing, my vision, everything in me, guys, was enhanced, okay? Spiritually, physically, everything. And now visually, I remember seeing demons, angels. I remember hearing the Lord's voice very clearly. And yeah, that was maybe, as I said before, about a year, 2 years after the Lord visited me. Now, one of the first things I remember was also when I fell asleep one night, I had my first dream from the Lord. What the Bible calls, when the Lord gives you a dream, where you know it's Him. It's not a regular dream, from your unconscious. You'll know. Trust me, everyone. Trust me, okay? And I also do encourage you guys to ask Him for a dream where you'll know it's Him. Now, I remember seeing this monk in this dream kneeling, and his hands were out and open, and he was looking to the sky. And then I remember seeing a date on a building. I think it was 1514, if I remember correctly. And I remember he was looking at the sky, and there were these, there were some saints looking down from heaven, from the clouds. And then the dream changed scenes, and I saw Jesus on the cross, our Lord on the cross, and I was looking at Him, and then as if like I zoomed, it's like I went to where He was. When He was on the cross, He was kind of looking down. Those pictures of Him that you see in those artist paintings where you see Him looking kind of down and His eyes are closed. It's like I went up to that, how do I say it here? Up to that point where I'm looking down with Him. And I can see what He is seeing from where He is seeing it. And then the dream changed scenes again, and let's see, what else happened? Okay, I'll give you the meaning of that later, but that was one of my first dreams from the Lord. Later on, I got to understand what it meant, and it meant that He was training me to think like Him. That's why when He was on the cross, and I zoomed up to where He was, and looking down with Him, He was training me to think like Him, to have His mind, to have the mind of Christ, to think as He does. Taking my first steps in doing that. Now, I also remember for many, many hours also during this time, I remember seeing His face and a crown of thorns around His head. I would see that when I'm awake, guys, when I'm awake. And I know it's Him. And He was just showing me, the spiritual world, seeing Him in the Spirit. This is also one of the earliest encounters I've had with Him. All right, guys, I'm going to stop the video here, and this will be a part of my testimony, the beginning. Earliest memories of encounters with the Lord. So I want you guys all to be comforted, okay? Just ask. We need to experience Him that way. Otherwise, we're just going to have knowledge about Him. We're just going to have scriptures in our head, but we will not actually meet Him and, put our arms around Him and talk with Him like a parent, like a parent loving his child and us loving Him back. All right, love you guys. Hear from you soon. Call me for prayer.